When Donald Trump announced his intention to run for the presidency again in 2024, it was clear that his campaign would not be an ordinary one. It's been a chaotic journey, marked by contentious policies, divisive rhetoric, and political stunts aimed at both solidifying his grip on his base and antagonizing his opponents. But what has become even clearer in recent months is that Trump seems determined to destroy the very institution he once held the highest office in, before it even starts. From bizarre claims of election fraud to frightening plans for mass deportations and extreme economic policies, Trump's potential second term promises to be even more turbulent than his first. As his allies and advisors, such as Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, ramp up the rhetoric, it's becoming evident that they seek to dismantle the federal government, attack social safety nets, and undermine the values that have traditionally defined America. This video will explore the many ways in which Trump and his closest allies seem intent on destroying the very foundations of America's political and social fabric, from mass deportations and the erosion of birthright citizenship to dangerous proposals for Social Security cuts and the politicization of key government agencies. We will analyze the disastrous policies that Trump's administration could implement, highlighting the devastation they would cause not just for the most vulnerable, but for American democracy itself. Mass deportations and the abolition of birthright citizenship, a clear attack on immigrant communities. One of the first signs that Trump's second term would be a disastrous one is his plan to abolish birthright citizenship, a core tenet of American law that grants citizenship to anyone born on U.S. soil, regardless of their parents' immigration status. As reported by the New York Times, Trump plans to end the practice of issuing citizenship-affirming documents like Social Security cards and passports to children born in the United States to undocumented parents. This proposal would strip millions of children of their rightful citizenship and create a permanent underclass of stateless individuals within America. But the plan doesn't stop there. Trump is also pushing forward with his mass deportation agenda. Already, we see his allies floating dangerous proposals to use the military and emergency powers to carry out mass deportations, even going as far as suggesting worksite raids and family separations. His rhetoric on this issue has stirred fear among immigrant communities and has led to significant pushback from civil rights groups who warn of the devastating social and economic consequences. What's particularly concerning is the manner in which Trump and his allies have framed this issue, using fear-mongering and xenophobia to rally his base. As these proposals gain traction, it becomes clear that Trump is not just targeting undocumented immigrants, but actively seeking to divide the country along racial and ethnic lines, portraying immigrant communities as threats to the American way of life. 2. The destruction of federal agencies, small government, or dismantling democracy. In a move that echoes his previous disdain for government, Trump has set his sights on dismantling federal agencies that provide critical services to the American people. This includes cutting departments such as the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, the Department of Education, and even the Department of Agriculture. His allies, such as Ramaswamy, have touted the idea of significantly reducing the federal workforce, even to the point of firing millions of public employees who provide essential services like education, healthcare, and national defense. Trump's campaign rhetoric, coupled with the advice of figures like Elon Musk, promotes a dangerous ideology that seeks to undermine the very institutions that sustain American democracy. These agencies, while not perfect, represent the backbone of government services that help protect the environment, ensure consumer safety, and provide public education. By stripping away these functions, Trump and his supporters are signaling their intent to privatize core aspects of American governance, handing over these responsibilities to corporations that care more about profits than the people they serve. Moreover, the attack on unions, particularly government unions, is another tactic in Trump's effort to dismantle the federal workforce. Union workers, who often represent the most vulnerable in society, would be left without protections, further deepening the inequality gap. The corporate-friendly agenda that Trump and his allies are pushing for would benefit the wealthiest Americans while abandoning those who need government services the most. 3. Economic chaos. Social Security and Medicaid under the knife. Perhaps one of the most devastating aspects of Trump's second-term plans is his proposed changes to social safety nets, such as Social Security, Medicaid, and food stamps. In a move to offset the enormous tax cuts he plans to pass for the wealthiest Americans, Trump and congressional Republicans are considering cuts to programs that millions of Americans rely on to survive. These changes would disproportionately affect the elderly, the poor, and disabled Americans, essentially stripping away the basic security net that allows vulnerable people to live with dignity. As if that wasn't enough, there are discussions about overhauling Medicaid and food stamps, both of which serve as critical lifelines for millions of Americans. The Republican Party has long espoused the idea of cutting these programs, but with Trump at the helm, there's a real possibility that these cuts could happen quickly, leaving families without the help they need to survive. Meanwhile, the wealthiest Americans and corporations would benefit from more tax cuts, deepening the divide between the rich and the rest of America. The idea of cutting Social Security in order to finance tax cuts for billionaires is nothing short of an attack on the American middle and working classes. If enacted, these policies would push millions of Americans into poverty, exacerbate the wealth gap, and fundamentally alter the social contract that has held America together for generations. 4. Political appointments, a dangerous, compromised cabinet. Another disturbing trend under Trump's leadership is his growing circle of questionable political appointees. Figures like Matt Gaetz and RFK Jr., who have no experience in governance, may find themselves in critical positions of power within a Trump administration. Gaetz, facing credible allegations of sex trafficking, could become the Attorney General, a role that would give him immense power over the justice system. Meanwhile, Trump's embrace of RFK Jr., someone with controversial views on vaccine safety, signals that the Republican Party is willing to sacrifice reason and expertise for political gain. What's more, the idea of nominating individuals with questionable allegiances, like those with ties to Russia, to high-profile positions such as Director of National Intelligence and Secretary of Defense, sends a dangerous message about the direction Trump intends to take. His willingness to surround himself with individuals who lack expertise and have dubious backgrounds suggests that Trump is more interested in personal loyalty than in ensuring competent governance. The public's response. How Trump's policies could lead to national instability. The public's reaction to these unfolding policies has been one of widespread concern. Polls show that Trump is losing support among key demographics, even within the Republican Party. His attempts to destroy vital government agencies, cut Social Security, and carry out mass deportations are pushing Americans, regardless of political affiliation, towards a breaking point. These policies not only threaten the livelihoods of millions, but could lead to nationwide unrest. Moreover, Trump's growing unpopularity among independent voters could have significant electoral consequences. If his policies continue on their current path, we could see a dramatic shift in the balance of power in Congress, with Republicans in swing districts being forced to answer for Trump's increasingly extreme agenda. As Trump's 2024 campaign continues, it's becoming more and more apparent that his presidency, should it come to fruition, will be defined by chaos, destruction, and dangerous policies. From his efforts to dismantle government agencies and attack immigrant communities to his dangerous economic agenda and troubling political appointments, Trump is laying the groundwork for a presidency that seeks to undo the very principles that have long defined the United States. But this self-destructive path will not only affect Trump and his supporters, it will have devastating consequences for every American. By attacking social safety nets, undermining critical government institutions, and stoking division, Trump is not just risking his presidency, but the very fabric of American democracy. It's up to the American people to ensure that this descent into chaos is stopped before it's too late.